This is Mike Del Mundo, and you're listening to Across the Bifrost.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Across the Bifrost, where on each and every episode, we explore the world of Marvel's mighty Thor. I am your host, Ryan Doze, joined today by one of the members of the Warriors 3. Faz is back in, he's back in the episodes because, Faz, we're talking about the MCU today. And what I've heard is you're kind of a fan of those moderately popular superhero movies that keep coming out every once in a while.
Well, I am the Across the Bifrost Thor trivia champion in the MCU, and I believe it wasn't particularly close. I think I got all of my questions right and all of your questions right. So
you did get all of I think you got all of Nick's questions right too.
Right. Yeah.
There might have been one that stumped you, but yeah, when we run that back again, definitely I gotta show up a little bit more respectably. That was not good. It was rough. But yes, you are our MCU expert. You're the only one of us that can say that they own cosplays of Thor from these movies, because I'm still working on my War Thor cosplay.
Don't lie to me like that. I need that to happen.
Here's the thing. I did buy beard dye, so red beard dye. I can do that. Okay. I think I can put together one that maybe won't embarrass me, but that we're not, there will be a time when we do like a Faz cosplay series of shows. Don't worry, I've thought of it. But today we're talking about a theory. Yes, we're going to talk about a theory that involves one of our favorite Marvel movies. And this was a theory that was brought to me a while back from a good friend who is here to talk about this theory today. Jason Luck, back on Across the Bifrost. Welcome back, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You are a good friend in real life, and you are an avid supporter of this podcast. Also, Faz, Jason is a THOR CORP member, a recent THOR CORP member. So Jason, let's just jump into it. We need to know which Marvel movie is secretly a Thor movie and why.
Well, my theory is that Avengers Infinity War is a direct sequel to Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, so Faz, how do we feel about this? Just on the front, like, we're gonna dig into this, but how do we feel about this? Infinity War is a sequel to Ragnarok.
To quote Korg from Love and Thunder, I love it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, everybody, this was the shortest show we've ever done. But hold on. We've got to dig into this, because Infinity War is a lot of things. A lot of stuff happens in that movie, and a lot of stuff with our guy Thor happens. We broke it down into 4 sections of the movie, and we're going to talk about each of them and how they kind of prove Jason's theory that Infinity War is actually a Thor movie. So, Jason, the first section of the movie, tell us what the first section of Thor's arc in this story is, and how it adds to this theory of Infinity War being a Thor movie.
Well, before you even see anything roll on the screen, you hear the Asgardian distress signal coming over the Marvel header, and right there, it's just happened within possibly maximum days since Ragnarok ended.
Yeah.
And then we're taken into the ship with Thanos and Thor, and looks like there's already been a big skirmish, and we'll go from there.
So yeah, we get dropped into this. We get dropped into this, basically the aftermath of a huge battle, and Thor is captive. Loki is a captive. Heimdall's dying. We don't see Bruce right away, but the Hulk is there too. And Thanos basically ends this this battle with a huge explosion. Loki dies, but we never trust when Loki dies. But Bruce gets sent to Earth. Heimdall dies, and then Thor says, "Hey, you killed my friend. Now you're gonna die for that." And Thanos basically flexes on Thor to start off the movie. Faz. So we've all seen Infinity War a couple of times. So what is this? How does this scene prove that Infinity War is a Thor movie?
Well, I mean, firstly, just like Jason said, it starts right where we left off, just long enough for Thor to get a nice costume change because they've got to sell new toys and because they've got to give him an ultimate style
Right.
costume for the movie. So he looks fantastic, all black. There's an off-screen fight that I would love to see as a deleted scene of Thanos just fucking shit kicking Thor for 5-10 minutes, knocking him on his ass, beating everybody up. Maybe Heimdall throws the sword at him. There's a lot of fun stuff they can do.
Why
there.
not? Like,
there's
so
many.
Theorize wildly.
Loki is finally redeemed in Ragnarok, so we get the end of his arc right at the beginning here, which is a perfect, again, end to the Thor story that we're working on here, where Loki's redeemed, he stands up for Thor, he buys him some time, and he makes the ultimate sacrifice for him. That alone makes Infinity War a Thor movie.
So one of my favorite parts of this, and you got this opening scene it kicks all sorts of ass. I'm just gonna tell you my favorite part of this opening scene, and then I want to hear Jason's favorite part. I want to hear Faz's favorite part. My favorite part is when Loki is talking to Thanos, but then he looks to Thor and he refers to himself as Odin's son.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! My goodness, Tom Hiddleston acts the hell out of that scene, and when he calls himself Odin's son, I'm like, oh no, he's totally gonna die. He's totally gonna die, and it's gonna count this time. And Thanos even says there's no coming back from that, because the thought with Loki is he can always come back. He's Loki.
No resurrections this time is what he says.
No resurrections right? This time. It's ew, yikes. Maybe a little bit of meta narrative while we're watching Infinity War. Jason, what's your favorite part of this opening salvo into this huge story that we're trying to prove is actually a Thor movie?
Well, I don't know if it was my favorite part, but the thing I found most interesting was that when they killed Heimdall, Thor seemed really, really upset. He took it way harder than when he killed Loki. It's almost like he expected Loki to come back. With Heimdall, he knew this was it.
That is true. He takes Heimdall's death very personally, and it seems that he doesn't take other deaths as personally, because at this point we get to a little bit later with Rocket, but Thor has lost pretty much everybody.
Yep.
And that actually, this adds a lot to this theory, this thing that we're talking about today, is that there's so much loss in Thor's MCU story that at the beginning here we're kind of digging the knife in the wound. We've already proven the point that Asgard's destroyed, Odin's dead, Frigga's dead, everybody he knows is dead, and then
Loki's died 3 times at this point.
Loki's died so many times, and at this point it's what more can he lose? I'm like, okay, how about half of all of Asgard that remains, and he loses Loki again, and also, by the way, he lost Mjolnir. So we've really we've hit Thor where it counts. He's down. He's out.
Any good Thor movie needs a villain. The villain changes from pretty good, like Loki in Thor 1, becomes great in Avengers.
Yes.
Forgettable in Thor 2 with Malekith. Fantastic, if one note, in Ragnarok with Hela. And we get the best villain in the whole MCU for our Thor movie, Thanos here. And Thanos does 2 things that I want to highlight. My favorite moment's the Loki moment. Can't use that. Heimdall was another great moment. 2 things. The first soliloquy. I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, but to fail nonetheless. So cool.
Woo.
Second thing, heavy hitter in Ragnarok. Again, this is a sequel to a Thor movie. In Ragnarok, they bring in the Hulk to take out Fenris, and Hulk wins, and he has a shot at Surtur if he doesn't let him go. Thanos just destroys him in 45 seconds, zero
Right.
Infinity Stones used to establish the threat. Because as a sequel to the Thor movie, this guy's the baddest there is, to quote Rocket from later in the movie.
Yep. And another thing when was I think it's Ebony Maw even says to the rest of the children of Thanos, like, oh, let him have his fun. He's fighting the Hulk. Like he's fighting the damn Hulk. And he's just like, you know what? This is like a plaything that he's just gonna, he'll figure this out.
He's doing some bicep curls with 5-pound weights, just kind of hanging out. That's all.
These are opening reps. These are warm-up reps. And yeah, Thanos proves his point by at the end of the scene blowing this refugee ship to absolute smithereens. And we cut away from Thor for a while, but then when we go back, Jason, next part of the theory, we go back to Thor, and then what are we met with next when we see him in Infinity War?
You see him floating in space, and this is where he's found by the Guardians.
And this Guardians team, like we all love this Guardians team for exactly what they show right away when they find Thor. They're quipping back and forth. They're Groot is now adolescent teenager. He's like teenager Groot. So we get a lot of fun stuff with him, like the sarcastic, like, I am Groot. And then it's like the what's the line that Star-Lord says, like, oh, look at the acorns on you, pal.
Yeah.
I love that line every time, gets me. But there's this tension between Star-Lord and there's this tension between Thor. Now, I don't, like, where did this come from? Like, I know this is a little bit away from our theory here, but like, where did that come? Like, why is Star-Lord so insecure around Thor instantly?
Well, Star-Lord, he's been the unquestioned leader of the Guardians for, at this point, like 5, 6, 7 years, right? And this guy comes in here who is much stronger than him, much better looking than him, in much better shape than him, and his girlfriend Gamora is feeling him up.
Look at his muscles. Like, quit touching his muscles. Quit touching his muscles. That's enough. We're good. There's a thing about Star-Lord that doesn't get mentioned in here. Like, it really doesn't get mentioned a lot past Guardians 2. Yes, Thor is a god, but Star-Lord is also part celestial. Like, that's got to count for something. They just they treat him like he's a schmuck, even though they've seen him do these crazy things for the last 2 movies. I just don't get that. Like, he's so powerful, but nothing.
He's not anymore. Now he's just a guy. He was powerful for like a weekend. He had a weekend of being a demigod. That's all.
I know he was. It's just, I don't know. It seems weird that I'm defending Star-Lord this adamantly. But what are some?
You heard it here first. Ryan loves Chris Pratt. Everything Chris Pratt's gone through that's socially his struggles right now. Whenever he gets in the media, Ryan's a huge fan.
Stop it. I love Parks and Rec. That's where I will make my hardest stand. But in this scene, a lot of things happen. Jason, what's your favorite part of this scene, and what do you think it adds to this whole Infinity War is a Thor movie theory that you've brought to Across the Bifrost? What in this scene?
Well, this whole scene sets up it's the comedy in this movie that otherwise is pretty straightforward and deep and dark. It's really the only comedy in the whole movie. And but also it just shows you the disregard that all the Guardians have for Star-Lord. Like, nobody listens to him. Like he thinks he's a leader, but nobody else thinks he's their leader.
Thor even says, Thor even says about Rocket, he's like, you seem like the leader. And Rocket basically is like, well, yeah, kind of.
That's me.
Yep.
This scene also sets up the best running joke in the entire MCU of Asgardians thinking that raccoons are rabbits.
Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Yes, this rabbit, he makes a good point.
Yeah, and then he goes rabbit, and then they go on their way. It's also a great scene because it talks about it's kind of the rising action of our Thor film.
Right.
Thor has his original loss, he's regrouping, he finds his new merry group, and they go off to do whatever they're going to do. And just like Jason said, it's a sequel to Thor Ragnarok. Thor's got to be funny, he's got to be quippy, he's got to say good things. He calls the Guardians morons, pretending he doesn't know what it means, right after explaining how he is 1,500 years old and is so intelligent, right? So it's a perfect middle scene to set the stage before he goes off on his adventure.
Right, because again, if we're ignoring everything else in this movie, every scene, every plot point that Thor is not directly involved in, if we're ignoring the rest of it, this scene is that palate cleanser where, like, we just saw him lose even more, as if Thor couldn't lose anymore. We've seen him lose more. We know that he's going to have this big climactic action scene, and he's gonna kind of get his mojo back with the hammer. This is actually the scene that adds the heart behind his quest, because we're finding out what drives him at this point, because he's losing so much. What could drive a god at this point, even though he's lost so much? Like that it is. They even have a little bit of an interchange with Star-Lord and Drax of who has lost what at this point in their journey. And like, we don't even, we're not really going to directly talk about this, but Star-Lord loses Gamora at the end of this movie. And so there's more loss coming, and it kind of foreshadows the loss of the snap and what we're going to, I don't know, what we're going to set up Endgame with is even more loss. Constantly, the Avengers keep losing people, they keep losing fights, and really you feel like Thanos is gonna win, like, because
that's why your favorite character, Tony Stark, says they're the Avengers, not the Prevengers, right? That's why it says that in Endgame, right? Because your favorite characters got your back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, when will this Iron Man joke end?
When you read the comics and you watch the movies and realize that they're pretty good.
Okay, hold on, Jason. I'm gonna put a pause on this one real quick. Iron Man 1 is good. Iron Man 2 is a cluster.
It's fine. It's fine.
You're defending a movie that does not need defending.
Have you seen Justin Hammer dance? That alone.
I will say Sam Rockwell is fantastic in that movie.
Exactly. Rest my case. We got to move on. Part 3 of the Thor. Let's go. Ryan still hates Iron Man. We're not getting over it. Time for
Iron Man 3, infuriating. So
Iron Man 3 is great. It's a great Shane Black film. You're just uncultured, to quote Brandon. Boom.
A great Shane Black film. The best Shane Black film is Predator, and he wasn't directing that one. Iron Man.
Third part of Thor's journey. Let's go, Ryan. You're holding us up with your Iron Man rant. I know you love him.
We are going to take a brief break here, and then on the other side, we're going to talk about Forging Stormbreaker and why Thor should have gone for the head in our theory of why Infinity War is actually a Thor movie.
This is where stuff gets really good because, Rocket and Groot and Thor go off on their own little side quest to create Breaker, all of our favorite Thor weapon.
Are we sure?
To be fair, I switch back and forth moment to moment. So today I'm going to agree with you, Jason. Tomorrow I'll be Team Mjolnir. The day after I'll be Broken Mjolnir. Ryan will never agree. Ryan likes comic Mjolnir because he's lame.
I do. What?
Do you own a comic Mjolnir, Ryan? Do you have one in your room? No, you don't. You have an MCU one.
I do have one. I was bought one for Christmas. But no, there has been talk of getting me an actual Mjolnir because I'm ridiculed constantly by certain co-hosts for not having an actual Mjolnir.
Oh, for not having one in your office that you can
we get it.
Record, nothing like that. No.
We get it. You play
nothing
dress
that's
up.
like a real metal Mjolnir that's too heavy for you to even lift, Ryan. You don't have one of those. Listeners, just so you know, I'm waving my Mjolnir in front of me right now.
So
Jason's
unabashedly.
incredibly impressed. Ryan's incredibly disappointed. That's how it is right now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get one eventually. Yeah, ha ha ha. So yeah, this scene, like, there's two things in this scene that stand out to me. I would love to know what stands out to you guys, because like Jason said, this is like the moment where we're like, oh, Thor's gonna get his mojo back. He's gonna wreck some shit up with this new hammer slash axe thing. Because it is kind of, I mean, it is part hammer, I guess. It's like yeah, it is part hammer. But it resembles the ultimate Thor, the ultimate Marvel Universe Thor's hammer, which later on becomes the War Thor hammer, in case you forgot from our Jason Aaron retrospective. But two things I love about this scene. I love the obligatory muscle shot that we get of Hemsworth opening the neutron star, like the iris of the forge. And then, I mean, let's talk about giant Peter Dinklage, giant but also not giant Peter Dinklage.
Giant dwarf, fantastic phrase.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, obviously Peter Dinklage is a small man, and it was weird to be like, oh my gosh, that's the largest Peter Dinklage has ever been on screen, and I love it. Even though I had even heard, I don't know about you, Faz, but I heard like afterwards, like, that was so dumb. That was so.
Oh, really? I only heard good things.
I don't know. I feel like it's like the MODOK thing where it's like, yeah, he's gonna look like what he looks like.
Oh no, I heard
Yeah, I
a lot
didn't
more
get any of that.
positivity. Yeah.
Well, I need to hang out with better people.
Spending too much time on Twitter and Reddit, Ryan. It's toxic out there.
I spend no time on Reddit. It scares me to my core. But guys, what was your favorite part of the Stormbreaker scene? And what do you feel like it added to this theory of Infinity War being a Thor movie? Jason, what does this scene add for you, and what were your favorite parts?
Well, I just love the way that with Rocket and Groot palling up with Thor, he made them care. The Rocket's always been about making money, and Groot, now teenage Groot, it seems like all he ever cares about is playing his video games. But they both realized how important this quest was, and Rocket said, Thor's got to succeed in restarting the eye, and then Groot drops his video game and hops over and makes the handle for the weapon in that great scene, and cuts his own arm off, and that's where we get Stormbreaker.
I do love that Groot makes that sacrifice of his arm becoming the handle for Stormbreaker. Faz, you have that Stormbreaker, correct?
Of course I do.
Tell us a little bit about this weapon, and how you became worthy to wield Stormbreaker.
Well, first thing I'm going to do is, put my finger between my glasses and pull it to my eyes and go, actually, Ryan, you don't need to be worthy to lift Stormbreaker. You just have to be incredibly strong, which is why Thanos can hold it, but he can't touch Mjolnir.
I knew eventually you were going to be the bane of my existence.
Stormbreaker is great, listeners, because of a number of things it can do. The axe head makes it much more of a sharp and cutting weapon than a hammer. A hammerhead can bonk people really hard, but there's a lot of people that Thor can't kill with Mjolnir that he can with Stormbreaker, because he can, for example, cut off Thanos' head. It also, being a king's weapon, can summon the Bifrost in the same way that Odin's spear can, in the same way that Heimdall's sword can, which will come into play later. I personally, though, as much as I love Stormbreaker, it is not my favorite part about this part of the movie.
Okay.
My favorite part is when Rocket and Thor are talking right before they get to Nidavellir. Because that's where, like Jason said, things get real. Thor and Rocket talk. Rocket decides it's time to be the captain because he can see how sad Thor is. And he says, are you sure you're up for this particular murder mission? And Thor goes, yeah, I mean, he's never fought me. And Rocket goes, yes, he has. And he goes, well, he's never fought me twice, I guess.
He's never fought me twice.
Yeah, exactly. And then he starts talking about how much he's lost. He's like, well, you've still got your dad, right? Oh no, he died. Mom, yeah, no, dead. Brother, yeah, no, he's dead. Sister, yeah, no, I actually had to kill her. Best friend, no, he's dead too. And that's where we get that line where Thor says, like, I have to win because fate wills it so. What more do I have to lose? And that's that centerpiece of this entire arc for him, where he's
Yeah.
still believing he's Fate's champion, he's Will's champion. I don't mean Will Rose, I mean Will, the will of the universe.
That was
He's
good.
also,
That was good. He's gonna love that.
he's also Will Rose's champion.
Yes, he is.
Beta Ray Bill's not in the MCU yet, but he truly believes he needs to win, even though
Yes.
he's lost so much. And it really sets up his heroic downfall later.
Yeah. So let's, you know what? Let's spare no more time then and get right to that heroic downfall. Because after we're done with this last part, I know Faz and Jason also have extrapolated this theory out beyond Infinity War. And we're going to talk just briefly about that as we land the episode. So this fourth climactic end of the story in Infinity War, proving that Infinity War is actually a Thor movie. Jason, what happens at the end of this movie, and where is Thor at the end of this secret Thor movie?
Well, this is my favorite scene in the whole movie, is when you've got everybody on Wakanda trying to fight off Thanos's hordes of warriors, and they're beginning to be overwhelmed. And you see the Bifrost, you see something come down and smash through it and wipe out thousands of these beasts. And it's the Asgardians of the galaxy. You've got Thor and Groot and Rocket.
Oh, it is the ultimate. So I was talking to Jason about this earlier. And for you, anybody out there that enjoys professional wrestling, here's how I explained it to Jason. Here's how this scene makes me feel. Imagine the Royal Rumble, and they count down to number 30. The glass breaks, and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out at number 30 and just starts Stone Cold stunning guys and drinking beers, and like he's cheering people, and like he's just absolutely cleaning house. That is kind of what Thor showing up in Wakanda is like. Bruce even says it. Bruce is like, oh, you guys are screwed now. Yeah, keep in mind, they've got a pretty formidable army of heroes there already. And when Thor shows up, he's like, oh man, you guys are mega screwed. This is going to go so badly for you guys.
And Bruce doesn't even know how strong Thor is yet. He doesn't even know about Stormbreaker.
Right.
All he knows is my guy's back.
I mean,
This
like,
scene is the scene that made everybody think that Thor is actually part of the big three in the MCU. For years, if you liked Thor, he was, one of the Avengers, everybody's fifth or sixth favorite. But this scene happens and everybody goes, Thor, Cap, Iron Man, those are my three. Of course, they're the most important Avengers.
you're damn
As
right.
if it had always been like that, because of three words. Bring me Thanos.
Damn.
Oh yeah, get it, God of Thunder. I mean,
Ryan, I've never heard you say that before, and I think it's best if you don't.
I regretted it almost instantly.
Nah.
But
No, it was good. Don't worry.
but there are a few scenes in the MCU as a whole that have given, like, in the theater, goosebumps, make me want to cheer like I'm at a sporting event kind of moments. This is one of them. Him showing up in Wakanda, and the wrecking of shop that happens after this. But then we come to that final moment where we're at kind of death's door. The Infinity Gauntlet is completed. Thanos has killed Vision again. And Thor has one shot to end
one
all
opportunity
of this.
to seize everything he ever wanted. One moment. Would he capture it or let it all slip?
Gosh. I'm so glad your memory is better than mine.
That's just an Eminem quote. That isn't an MCU quote, right?
It's still your memory. You know what? I no. So he throws Stormbreaker through this like blast of energy from the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, let's not like just skip over that. Stormbreaker is powerful enough to come against the power of the Infinity Gauntlet and at least match it. And so he throws Stormbreaker into the chest of Thanos, and he kind of takes a second. He takes a beat there, which probably inadvised. And then Thanos does the snap. So you're in the theater, gentlemen. Jason, Faz, you're in the theater. This moment happens. What's your thought in this moment? Jason, what's your thought in this moment where you're like, oh, he did it. Oh no, he didn't do it.
The only bad part is that we already knew there was going to be a second part to this movie. We already knew there was going to be an end game. You knew something had to happen. This couldn't be the kill shot. So that lessened this for me, but they brought it back around into Thor's story of he had to take that time. His ego got the best of him. He had to gloat. He should have gone for the head. And Thanos lets him know that.
Yes. Faz, what was your reaction to this epic moment gone wrong?
Firstly, to set the stage, families have brought their kids to this screening. It's a packed theater. Children are crying. Adults are crying because all of their favorite characters are dying. And I am sitting there grinning from ear to ear.
You sick bastard.
Just like Jason said, there's a second one coming. And because you see the characters that die, this can't be permanent. But that Marvel fucking went there.
Yes.
For years, they say, Marvel's the fun one. They never let their characters lose. DC's where you go for the dark stuff. And then Thanos wins and everybody dies. And Marvel went there. I did not think they'd have the balls to do it. And I was so happy that they did.
Unrelated to our Thor theory here, that scene with Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. may be the best acting in the whole MCU.
Ad-libbed too, not even part of the plan. Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can tell. Like, by the way, for that DC comment, I disagree wholeheartedly. Like, the MCU has proven time and time again that it adds stakes to the characters. It humanizes them.
Agreed entirely.
It gives them actual suffering and not, this thrown in comment at the end of Dawn of Justice where it's like, what's your mom's name? It's this. Oh, that's my mom's name.
But Ryan, Marvel movies use color, and it can't be an adult movie if it uses color. It has to be grayscale. It's
gotta be broody. Because if it's dark and broody, that means it's good, right? Not really.
Anyway, if we back to our Thor story.
We really should learns Brandon Blocksdorf on to talk about DC movies. He loves that.
He learns his ultimate lesson that he's not Fate's chosen hero. He's not Will's weapon here. He's just a guy with a hammer. I think he even says something like that. I'm just an idiot with an axe, right?
And that's where we leave Thor at the end of this movie. He's gone through this massive arc of losing, rising from those ashes to win his weapon back, and then he loses even worse than he could have. And he, we're going to talk about what Endgame kind of adds to this, but he carries this loss with him in a very personal way. Like, the rest of them that came up against Thanos, like, they're like, hey, we lost. He got the better of us. Like, we have to move on. And Thor's like, no, I could have ended this. So, guys, this theory, how have you both thought about it past Infinity War? Because I know there's like a secret trilogy that has been rumored and mentioned. Faz, you mentioned a trilogy. And I know Jason co-signs this trilogy.
If you take what Taika and Hemsworth did in Ragnarok, you throw in a little splash of the Russos while being shepherded by Hemsworth in Infinity War, and you wrap it all up with Endgame, Thor goes on an entire arc from the most confident and still kind of dickish Prince of Thunder to a true king who knows how to be humble and knows how to put his people first over the course of about, I guess the movies are pretty long, 8 or 9 hours, given how long Infinity War and Endgame are.
You can cut out all that Iron Man shit. You don't need it.
Robert Downey Jr. who?
Oh, I am Iron Man. But no, that makes a great arc. Jason, do you have anything else to add on this kind of the widening of the theory that you've brought us today?
No, I sign off on everything Faz said.
Be careful with that. That'll get you in trouble.
Faz is usually right.
Love to hear that. Favorite patron right there. This guy might be listener supreme.
Oh shit. Oh, that was bad. We're gonna have to edit that.
Will somewhere is screaming in sadness.
But no, I mean, honestly, Faz, I like Jason said, I think it's spot on. And I think this is well worth, listener, next time you go watch Ragnarok, Infinity War, Endgame, seriously pay attention. We always encourage you to pay attention to the Thor parts, but pay attention to Thor's arc specifically. It is a complete satisfying arc from the beginning of Ragnarok, because really Ragnarok is it's a soft reboot of the Thor persona within the Marvel movies.
Just like comics Ragnarok. Look at that. Look at them putting things together.
Wow. Faz making a comic book reference that had nothing to do with a reptile wearing a crown.
In an MCU pod. It's wild.
No, that was good. That was good. Like,
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna like steer way clear of comics on this one.
Someone's been forcing me to read Simonson, and I'm growing as a person. That's how it is.
Wow. The Simonson fans, he's not being forced. He's being encouraged with incentive.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying it, Simonson fans. Please don't yell at me. But what I would recommend is joining our Patreon and yelling at us in the Patreon specific chat, joining our Discord, yelling at us there, and following us all on social media and yelling at us about that there. Because as long as you use more than 3 words, it's good engagement, and Instagram will love us.
I love Chris Fazio for so many reasons. And his inability to not chill, it's so good, so good.
We're trying to fund a War Thor costume, guys. Get in there.
That's what all the Patreon stuff is going towards.
That's what I think it should go to.
Oh well,
yep,
I've
I
been
agree.
paying for subscriptions like an idiot. But guys, any other comments on this theory video or theory episode that we put together on why Infinity War is actually a Thor movie?
Well, the only other thing I think that they never really mentioned, but it kind of, I noticed it, was that Thanos' whole thing is wiping out half of every planet to make them livable, sustainable. Thor went through that without Thanos having a hand in it. So Thor almost had to be the yin to Thanos' yang.
Yeah. Well, I never even really thought about that. Yeah, it's crazy because Asgard is destroyed and Thanos does not have a thing to do with it.
And then Thanos calls half the people the old-fashioned way before he then snaps another half. So Asgard's down to a quarter of its people.
Yeah. Yep.
Good grief. Yeah. No, it just goes to show you that Thor is he kind of has the saddest story in the MCU. Like,
Wanda stands are going to come at you now, but
go right ahead. Absolutely right ahead.
I'll fight for Thor because I did write that down in my notes. I said through all the arcs of that movie, Thor was the only person with nothing left to lose.
Yeah, even lost an eye. Like there's nothing left. Maybe the lower half of his left arm to be replaced with a destroyer arm. That's really the only thing he's still missing. 2 comics references. It's so exciting, everybody. I'm growing as a person. It's great.
You are growing as a person.
My final thoughts on this are just a bit of Thor: Love and Thunder defending, as I tend to do.
Oh no!
Because not only is this trilogy ending with Endgame, but the same themes are picked up in Love and Thunder and treated quite well if you take moments and ignore the screaming goats and just think about what Thor's actually going through. Because the last thing he needs to learn is how to forgive himself and to care about people again after he's literally lost everybody in his entire life. Regardless of how you feel about that movie, you can't fight the fact that at the end of it, Thor knows that he needs to care and try and fight again.
Yeah, like maybe even the way to put this is that the Infinity War kind of theory that we've discussed is a lot of an internal thing, wrestling with himself, and Love and Thunder can restart this, like, okay, how do I now do this with other people? How do I I've chosen to accept myself. How do I now love and appreciate and accept and learn to grow in my relationships again? Because he's still lonely at the beginning of Love and Thunder. Like he's done the work, but at the end of Endgame, he goes off and he's like, well, I got to go figure out what to do next. But he does that pretty much by himself. Yes, as Guardians of the Galaxy are there, but he's not. He's really just kind of along for the ride with them.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody, we hope you've had a fun time talking about this this MCU theory of why we believe that Infinity War is a Thor movie. Thank you, Jason, for bringing it to us. I've had a lot of times just talking with Jason on the phone through this. I'm like, we got to do an episode about this. This will be a lot of fun. And Faz, of course, Faz is always up for an MCU discussion. So everybody, that brings us to the end of our conversation. But before we leave you, we just want to remind you all those things that Faz said. Faz, you just want to run that down again? All the ways people can interact
of course.
with us.
So big thing that's
so
new
well.
is we have a Discord now. So if you don't see the link for that with on our Instagram, it's there. But worst case, shoot the Instagram a message. We'll get you signed up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're growing there. It's going to be a great place to talk. We're sharing collectibles. We're sharing a lot of cool stuff in there. Next big thing, Patreon. Can't recommend it enough. Some of the episodes are a little unhinged. Ryan and I got let it get away from us when Will was on vacation, but you know, we're getting back. We've got some ideas in the pot. They're going to be scheduled. They're going to be actual planned discussions.
And we're going to talk about Team Thor this week.
We're going to talk about Team Thor. That's huge. There's also a huge thing being Listener Prime. That's something that we're still waiting to see who's going to be that person. It's very exciting. I'm tempted to join that myself just to get the position, but I wouldn't want to hold it over Ryan and Will. They'd be really sad.
That would be very arrogant of you.
And then the last thing is check out our Instagram, because that's where you're going to get notified of when our new shows are coming out. You're going to get to interact with us more, and we're building a community, and we'd love you to be a part of it.
Yeah, we that Faz could not have said it better. I couldn't have said it better than Faz just said it. We're trying to build connections with you guys, talk about the things we love, and share those things. So if you want to go support us on any of those things, that would be an incredible thing for you to go do, and we would appreciate it very much. But everybody, until we see you next time aboard the Rainbow Bridge, we encourage you to do one thing, and that is, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, to stay worthy.